Hi, welcome to Rose Opal Knits. My name is Erica and this is the September Extra. This cabinet behind me is my yarn cabinet. Who wants to take a look inside? Okay, so here we are. This is inside of my cabinet, which is a hand-me-down from my in-laws. They used to have it in their dining room, and I have repurposed it to my bedroom, and now it holds yarn. All right, so let's start on the top shelf. Right here in this basket is all sock yarn. This is yarn that I have set aside for socks. And then in this bag is a sweater quantity of yarn, and I'll talk about my sweater quantities in a little bit. And then in this basket here, I have all of my Knit Crate yarn. When I had my Knit Crate subscription, all the yarn that I did not knit with, which was most of it, is now in this basket. And then over in this basket here is another, I'm calling it a sweater's quantity of yarn because I plan to knit a sweater out of it, but it is sock yarn, and it is my Hunger Games yarn, but I'll show you that up close in a minute. Then down here on this middle shelf are all sweater quantities. They are all being kept in paper bags from my local yarn store. I'm trying to think. I think they all came from my local yarn store, but even if they didn't, actually there might be some knit picks in there, I'm not sure. But even if they didn't, I repurposed my paper bags from my local yarn store and put them in here. And then down here on the bottom in this basket is like, most of this is yarn that I did not purchase. It was yarn that was either gifted to me, and it's like 1 or 2 balls of a certain type. Some of them I have an idea of what I'm going to do with it, and then other I'm not sure. Kinda have a plan, but not really. And then here is a bunch of Knit Picks. Yeah, Knit Picks palette yarn and a couple other non-superwash fingering weight yarns that I plan to use. Some of it held double to knit a sweater. I'm going to talk about my sweater quantities. And then over on this side, I have some yarn left over from a sweater that I knit a couple years ago. So I'm going to come back to my cabinet in a couple minutes, but I'm going to be sitting down and I'm just going to show you the yarn. But this is how it's stored. So I wanted you to see it. Okay, and this is another section in my bedroom where I have some other yarn stored. In this, I think they're called hurricane glasses. I'm not sure exactly, but I have leftover sock yarn that's not quite enough for a pair of socks, and like used mini skeins also in there that I could use for scrappy socks or or maybe a stripy shawl or something, or some color work. And then in this one, I have what I'm calling 2 pairs for shawls. So I have these 2 Canon hand dyes that I have a shawl idea, and I also have these 2 yarns. One is Fiber Spates, the gray is Fiber Spates Vivacious 4-ply, and the other one is Dye-tastic hand-dyed yarn. It's a beautiful color. It's called Sunset Storm. So kind of have an idea for these for shawls, maybe. These 2 definitely have to be for like a shawl or a cowl or a hat. They don't have any nylon in them. But I could use the Canon hand dyes for socks because they are a sock base. And then in this basket here, I have DK weight sock yarn. So I have a couple of skeins that I haven't used yet, like this. This is Artistic Lily, and this is just Regia. Then I have other scraps of DK weight yarn that I've already used to knit socks, but I could make scrappy DK weight socks. They're all in here waiting to become DK weight socks. And then in this vase, I just have mini skeins that have not been used yet. So they are still in the hank. They're just hanging out there looking pretty. And then down, I have a shelf down here, but it just has like containers with hair ties and stuff. So I just wanted to show that to you real quick. Okay, here's a quick look into my sock basket. As you can see, there are some balls of yarn that I have not knit with yet. Several balls of Regia, a Knit Picks Felici that I'm going to pair with a gray yarn, I think. There is a hank of Yarn Cafe Creations I've never caked up. But most of the yarn in the basket is yarn that I have knit with socks before, but I want to make another pair. Or it's like half skeins of yarn that Daphne gave me. There's a couple self-striping in there. But, you know, just some things that I think would be fun to make socks out of. Okay, here's a look in the basket that I have my Knit Crate yarn in. And several of these I've shown on the podcast in the past year and a half. I did cake up this one skein right here because I thought I was going to use it to knit a hat with, but it's not superwash and I just decided not to do that. Over back here is, that's some cotton. I think I'm probably just going to knit dishcloths out of it, but it's really nice. So I haven't made that final decision yet. This is a linen cotton, I think. I'm not sure. I was thinking about making some kind of market bag out of it, but I'm not 100%. That is sport weight sock yarn. I probably will knit sport weight socks out of that. And then that's just regular sock yarn there. I kind of have a plan for those two. I'm thinking maybe a colorwork cowl or colorwork yoke of a sweater, but I'm not positive. So there's that. Okay, here's the big basket that was at the bottom of my cabinet. And once I got into it, I realized that there are 2 hanks of Knit Crate yarn in there. That didn't make it into my Knit Crate basket, but it's full, so they're going to stay where they are. It's the navy blue ones right there. And then this Yarn Bee yarn over here, that was given to me by Daphne. They're not really her colors. They were given to her. She gave them to me. I think I might knit a sweater, a striped sweater for my daughter out of them. And then that, I don't know how to say that, but right here, the Jedifra, I'm not sure, but I have 2 balls of that, and I think that's enough to knit my daughter a Love Note sweater out of, so that's the plan for that. The colorful Barocco Millefori Light Luxe, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I might knit a cowl out of those 2 balls, but I'm not 100%. This pink tweed, that's Kramer yarns. I knit a blanket for my daughter out of that, but it's cotton and acrylic. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do with it. And then the Stitch Studio by Nicole in the back there, that was given to me by my friend Julie. Not 100% sure what I'm going to do with that either. The orange is Fisherman's Wool that I dyed with icing dye, and I've used it before. I think I used it in my Simple Hug Cardi. And then I have 3 balls here of Barocco Ultra Wool, and I have plans to knit mittens, and a hat for my daughter out of those. So that's that basket. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you my sweater quantities and talk about what sweater I plan to knit them up into. So in this basket that was in the top shelf, I have 4 skeins of the Yarnbrary sock yarn in 4 of the Hunger Games, I guess was a Hunger Games club that she had like a monthly thing for a little while there. So I have 4 skeins saved here. Here they are. This one is Boy with the Bread, which of course is PETA. And this one is called Effie, Trinket. Cedar, Flickerman. And this one is Primrose, Everdeen. So I think I'm going to knit these up into the Gracious sweater by Espace Tricot. It's a sweater. It has 4 different color stripes. Yeah, 4 different color stripes. And so my plan is to use these 4 skeins of yarn and knit myself that Hunger Games inspired sweater. I do have 2 skeins of Coop's Knit Socks Yeah in this gray color, which is Danburite. And I just stuck them there because I didn't know. I thought that maybe I might want a skinny stripe in between each one of these colorways, just to have like a definite division, since they are like speckled. Some of them are very highly speckled. Well, a couple of the other ones are more lightly speckled. So I don't know. I'll play that by ear when I'm knitting it. This color might end up in between each one of the 4 stripes. I'm not sure. So this bag was also on the top shelf of my cabinet, and in it I have 3 hanks of this. I'm not sure how to say it. I'll put it across the screen. See if I can pronounce the color. Costa Verde. Forgive me. So I have 3 hanks of this, and I plan to knit them into the Risen Cardigan by Melanie Berg. In the bag, I also have 3 balls of this Stroll fingering in the ash colorway. Because again, I'm not sure, well, first off, I'm not sure if 3 skeins of this will be enough to knit a full-size cardigan with full-length sleeves. So if it's not, I might do like the bottom portion of the cardigan body and the cuffs in this ash. Or I might try to stripe it in at some point, but the cardigan has some texture, so I'm not really sure. But that's my plan. So that's what I'm gonna do with these. All right, so now we're on the middle shelf of my cabinet, and all the way off to the side, I don't think you can see it in the video because most of that shelf just looks like paper bags, is this bag. And in this bag is this. So I have 2 hanks of this Prairie Spun DK in this green color. And then I have, put it down, 1 hank each of 5 other colors. There was something fuzzy in the bag because now each one of these hanks has like white fuzzes on it. But so I have 5 hanks each of the same yarn, different colors. So the green color is Cypress leaves. So 2 cypress leaves, 1 lost lake, 1 red cedar, 1 owl gray, 1 honeycomb, and 1 huckleberry pie. All right, so I plan on knitting these into the Rituals sweater by Locatelli, and I plan to omit the lace out of that stripe, but each one of those stripes that has the lace will be a different color, not the green, will be a different color. And then the skinny stripes and the collar, the cuff, and the bottom hem will all include some green. So the green will be like the background color, the color that ties it together, and then the thicker stripes, and then the skinny stripes, and then a thick stripe in each one of the other colors. That's my plan. It's gonna look crazy, but I think I'm gonna love it. So, you know, you gotta knit what you love and knit things you'll wear, and I will wear it. So, I mean, I think I will wear it. I haven't seen it knit up yet, but that's my plan. Okay, and then on that middle shelf, in a brown paper bag from the Yarn Maven, which is my local yarn store, I have a sweater quantity of this Barocco Ultra Wool DK, and this yarn is going to become the Cedar pullover by Locatelli. So I've never knit any Locatelli, and I have plans to knit 2 sweaters from her. So I'm excited about that. I'm gonna knit this along with my friend and I, my friend Julie and I are going to do like a little knit along with the Cedar pullover. It'll be her first sweater, so that'll be a lot of fun. All right, we're still on that middle shelf, and I'm in another brown paper bag. In this bag, I have a sweaters quantity of some more Barocco Ultra Wool DK. This is in a beautiful green color. And I also have 1 skein of this Candy Shop yarn on the Bloom DK base. What color? Oh, Lime Ricky is the color. And I plan on knitting the Meridian striped pullover by Marie Green, and the body of the sweater will be this, and the stripe will be this. That's my plan. All right, another brown paper bag. I have three hanks in this color. This is Knit Picks Hawthorne in the Newport tonal. So 3 hanks of that and 2 hanks of this. This looks ugly. I've had this yarn for a while. This is Knit Picks Hawthorne Fingering in Darlington. So I have 2 hanks of this and 3 hanks of this, and I plan to knit these into a Winter's Bloom sweater by Genevieve K Knits. I've had that pattern for a while, and I've had this yarn for a while, and it's always been intended to knit that. I did briefly think about knitting Caitlin Hunter's Scylla, I don't know, with this yarn, but I think I would wear the Winter Bloom sweater more than the design on the Scylla. It's a beautiful sweater. I just think I would wear the Winter Blooms. So that's the plan for that yarn. All right, we are into the last brown paper bag. And in this bag, I have 9 balls of Knit Picks. This is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted weight. And they are, each ball is a different shade or color of greens and browns. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's 6 of the colors. Drop those on the floor. And the last 3 I have. So I had planned, purchased this yarn to knit up another Simple Hug cardi, but I just recently saw, well, I think everyone just recently saw, but Andrea Mowry released the Douglas cardigan, and I think that I would like to knit these up into that. I might need more yarn. I might need like one color to tie it all together with the trim, but that's what I'm thinking now. Before, like I said, I was thinking Simple Hug cardi, but now I'm leaning towards the Douglas cardigan, Andrea Mowry. And on that shelf that you, or another sweater quantity that you didn't see on that shelf, but it wasn't in a brown paper bag either. It's in a lovely Ziploc bag. I think I mentioned that I had two more hanks of knit crate yarn. So I have 2 of these. And I have them in this Ziploc bag with what I have left of this yarn. And if you've been watching Rose Opal Knits for a while, you will know that I use this in the body of my Sunset Highway. So I have these 2 and this set aside to knit another Bluebird cardi. Oh, I forget who the designer is, but it'll be up on the screen. But so that's the plan there with those. All right, so this is the last bag, and it was on the bottom shelf next to the basket of yarn, the big basket of yarn. This is, I don't know what, Chris's grandmother gave me this bag. Oh, Lancome. It must have been a gift with purchase or something. But in it, you can see it has all these different balls of yarn. I have a lot of Knit Picks palette, which is a fingering weight yarn, and these lovely colors that all kind of coordinate, complement each other. And so I have plans to knit the City Limits, holding 2 strands together, or is it 3 strands? I don't know. I don't remember. But this palette most of the palette was bought to knit that sweater out of. I had some palette in my stash, and I just bought more palette so I would have enough. I would have a sweater's quantity to knit that yarn, that sweater, the City Limits. And so that's that. I was going to say something. Oh yeah, I did have one more brown paper bag on that middle shelf, but it has the extra balls for my holiday sweater that I'm already currently knitting, so I didn't think I needed to show that yarn. But that's it. This is the majority of my yarn stash. There are a couple baskets here and there around the house with like bits and pieces of yarn that I just can't get rid of. I should. I actually have a basket of shame. It has yarn that is just all tangled together, and I should just throw it away. But for some reason, I can't. So that's everything. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and or leave a comment and let me know, and Daphne, because she's part of Rose Opal Knits, my daughter-in-law, what other kind of extra video you'd like to see from us. Would you like to see our knitting book library, or I don't know, anything? Let us know. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.